Hi everyone, it's a little windy today. I have got my dead cat on the microphone, so hopefully you can pick up on what I'm saying okay. But today I'm out on a bike because we're going to look at something that I think is probably the most important thing for motorists to understand about cycles and cycling, and it's primary position. Now, just to make it perfectly clear, people think this is a new thing for me, getting out on a bike, and it's not. I've been riding for many years, but primary position is something that I'm finding I'm having to teach a fair few of the instructors who I'm teaching, as well as students. It is misunderstood by a majority of cyclists, by a majority of motorists. So that's why I've decided to have a little look at it today. Now I'm going to turn left at these lights, and we're just going to have a little look at what primary position is. Effectively, it's riding in the middle of your lane. Secondary position is about where I am at the moment. It's between 1 metre and 50 centimetres from the left curb, and this is a lot of the time the position you should be taking up when vehicles or motorists have got enough room to ride past. But there are certain scenarios and certain situations where riding in primary position is going to be a benefit, and I'm going to just have a little look at a few of these scenarios today. I'm just constantly checking around to see who's about and who's around, but I'm going to be looking at them today. Now, I've never done any bike ability training or anything like that. I'm just using this as my experience goes. Now, here, there's an extra lane. I'm straight out in primary in this scenario, especially with the vehicle up ahead. Now what I'm doing, I'm positioning early as well for that one. But now I'm going to come back into primary, and this is not a bus lane. It's been bin bagged. Liverpool City Council bin bagged them, so even when it was a bus and cycle lane, I'd be fine being in here, but you're fine all the time. So I've taken this position up because there's plenty of room for the people to overtake. It gives this guy on the left plenty of room to get into his car, and it gives me a good safety zone from those vehicles. Now here, I'm just being a little bit aware because people may be coming down the outside, so I'm having a couple of checks. There's no one behind. And now the road goes back into one lane. Now, if there were vehicles behind, I would have gone back into the secondary position there. But I know that I'm going to be catching this parked car on the left before the vehicle behind gets to it. So I'm taking up an early position. And now, because even though that's not 1.5 meters, even though there was no room for that red car to give me 1.5 meters, they still decided to force past. And that's why I'm staying out in this protective position at the moment. That's a better pass. And now I'm going to come back into primary in this lane. So, as you can see, the primary position there was used to command my space and deter maybe people coming past at that situation, because the road wasn't wide enough for me to take the space that I wanted and needed, and for people to overtake and get past. So that's just part of the course, unfortunately, until we educate a few more. Now, it's also an important part to try and command space as you're going across a junction. This is a little different, it's a little bit more awkward because we've got 2 lanes effectively going into one. So I could be in a secondary position here, but it's not really going to make much difference. All I'm doing, I'm just keeping an eye on people around, especially in this lane 2, to see what's going to happen a little bit further up. Now, if people are forcing past, I've always got this escape route to my left to go back to secondary, providing there's no other cyclists coming through. Undertaking on the left is dangerous in all situations. So let's have a little look at the situation around. Now I'm just going to come back into secondary because I think there's enough room for people to overtake, giving me the same room the Discovery gave me, and for me to ride. So that was all good, no problems. So it's picking your time whether to be in primary or secondary, and it depends on traffic flow. There's no in the world that was 1.5 meters. So again, through a junction, I'm going to take up this primary position. Now there is a little relationship as well between the speed that you go and primary position. If you've taken up a primary position, you really need to be getting on with it a little bit. Now there's no set speed for me. I just think you've just got to be aware of people around. So yeah, I don't want people coming past me through the middle of the junction. And now what position here? If we look at the width of the road, I can still be in secondary. I'm not going to go too close to the gutter, but I'm going to be in secondary. Again, there's enough room for vehicles to pass, just like this van to my right. There's plenty of room for that one to go past, and for me to take my space. So a touch further up, I am going to turn right at the next set of lights. So we're just aware of people around me. I'm adjusting how quickly I move away to suit. I'm just going to put an early signal on and give them a thumbs up to say thanks. So pick your opportunities. Again, another thumbs up to say I'm happy for them to come past. And I am just going to put a nice early right signal on. And again, commanding the middle of my lane because I don't want people to squeeze past on my left hand side. We're all good. Again, here there's no room to overtake, so what I'm doing, I'm staying in primary. They can't get past anyway. And I'll always do my best to try and time things and keep things moving, not go through the red light like the other guy did. Is it a possibility? No. So we'll get prepped and get ready again. So primary here, there's no inner world. You want to be in that secondary position in this scenario to maybe encourage people to force past over this narrow and in the bridge. But again, I'm always aware of people around in case that's the case. On with it. Make progress. I'm not holding up flow. And now this is quite interesting again. If I was in secondary position here, it again might encourage people to come past. Now there's still oncoming cars, I'm just holding my line. The cars behind now may have enough room at this next area, so I am gonna just show them and come back in. If they want to come past now, that's fine. They decided not to, so I'm gonna thank them and then get on with my position out away, like we said, at least a metre or a door's width away from these parked cars. And that's not in case I get doored, it's in case a child runs out. So here, the car behind's been good as gold. It's kept its distance. I am getting on with things. I'm probably doing, you know, maybe 15 to 18 miles an hour, and again there's no room for the vehicles to overtake, so I'm just keeping my pace up. And then I'm looking at it now after the black parked Jag on the left. In fact, I'm just going to tuck it in a little, thank them, still keeping my distance good from that side and coming back. And now I'm leaving all the space for people to overtake. I'm just going to slow slightly, let this one pass, and then take again my distance from the parked cars on the left hand side. So here, primary would be all right. There's no one around. I'm a little bit more visible out in primary. 4 junctions on the left hand side I'm seeing earlier. This one obviously could open the door and move off, so I'm ready for that one. And now again, staying in primary on my side, but I'm just aware of this parked car again. So change your position to suit constantly. It's no different than driving a car. It's not always or must, it's situational. Is he going to come out? No, he's not. I am going to thank him as well. Cheers, buddy. You're all right, mate. And I'm going to do a right turn. Okay, there's no advanced cycle area for me to go into, so I'm all the way up to the line. Again, staying in primary, and I'm going to turn right at the next set of lights as well. A nice lorry driver is behind me, and he's gave me plenty of room, which is lovely. It's no pressure. He was nice and aware, like he should be, operating one of those things. All right, anticipation of lights is always key. But what I'm going to do, it is difficult to signal sometimes when you're on a bike. Just be careful, like I did on that last left bend over some potholes, putting a signal on. You're not comfortable controlling it with one hand, don't signal. No signals better than a missed time one, or if you end up on the floor. All right, lights could be changing, there's nothing coming from the other side. Pedestrian time perhaps with the guy over to the right hand side. And off we go. All right, sound. Now, I'm going to take up an early position. I'm going to put a nice early signal on so people can see what I'm doing. The lorry driver's a big distance behind, so that's okay. And again, I don't want to be anything other than the middle of my lane here. Thanks, buddy. Where are people behind me? Looking at them gives them an idea that you're aware of them, don't forget. A lot of people have initially said to me with this bike that it should have mirrors on. I get that, but I actually prefer no mirrors, because me doing my shoulder checks either side, or in fact both sides sometimes, shows people around what's what. So we're going to get back to primary position on this next little section. This is an interesting one because it's a 20 limit. The unmarked police car from the opposite side is coming through that one. No bothers. Nice job. So yeah, this next road is a little bit of a funny one. It's a 20 miles an hour limit that we're going into. The road's quite narrow. It's got some pinch points and some bollards. We're going to be looking at other times where taking up primary would be good. So we're all fine. Here, do I really want anyone to overtake in this scenario? No. So I'm staying in the middle. They're not coming past. If they do again, I'm always ready. But now I'm going to give them an opportunity back into secondary. Thank you. That one's all okay. And then I'm just going to take my position back out in primary for this bend, signalled with a car behind. And there's another pinch point, so there's no inner world that I'm going to go back in yet. I'm just aware of people. There's a gap after the pinch point, so I'm going to come back into secondary, thumbs up, and then they clearly know when you're happy with the overtake. If you're aware of the motorists around you, honestly, this riding a bike lark isn't complicated, and I've taken never any training for this. I'm out in primary early. I just got a little squirt on as well with my legs. Use these times to build fitness, or if you want to cheat like me, get an electric assist. I'm showing the lorry driver I'm aware of him. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to secondary and just slow my rate of pedalling. Should he really come past though at this point, I'm giving him the opportunity. He's holding back, it's not a problem. And the lights up ahead are on red and he's holding back anyway. So I'm going to take primary again, give him a thanks. And I'm getting pedaling again. You can see the bike's past 15 miles an hour because the electric assist is gone. This is all me. And again, I'm on with it. I'm putting a little bit of fitness work in, distance again from the left hand side, and keeping my good position away. Now, this lorry's an interesting one. I'm going to turn right, but I'm going to be super aware of where he's going. I'm going to tell him early. Looks as though it's a learner as well. Nice job. So whoever's doing the training with that guy, perfect. Notice I just stopped a little bit further back to allow the lorry a little bit more room to do its turn. How many cyclists would have thought of that? I'm not going on a cycle area. I'm travelling too fast for that in my opinion. The van's parked up in it anyway. There's another lane where people can comfortably go past. No issues. If you want to overtake, they've got loads of room to. Up ahead, I'm turning right, and I can do from this lane. The van's going to turn left at the lights. You could hear that from what was happening with the engine, so keep your ears peeled. It tells you loads of clues. Didn't get him far anyway. But that's no issue to me, I don't care. As long as people do things safely. Watching around, making sure I know where everyone is. So again, primary when there's a couple of lanes, not an issue. And get out in the cycle area and be seen. That's key. And just another little reminder, never taken any cycle training. I've cycled for years. But like I've said, it's getting more and more clear in my mind the work that I need to do to try and educate drivers about why cyclists are going to be taking up this primary position and how to deal with it. But think of flow, keep looking around, keep watching, change what you're doing. So here, what's my thoughts? I'm going to stay in primary because like I said, I've got escape route to my left. I'm not going to go before the lights change, but I know they're going to go within a few seconds. And I'm going to go round in that left side, but I'm just aware of the vehicles to my right again. Especially with this guy creeping now to my right. Okay, amber lights on to the right hand side, so we know we're going. So I'm just making sure I can be seen because I don't want him to come back into the left. So notice the position. The shoulder check shows the one to my right, what I'm doing. And again, primary position. No reason whatsoever to be in secondary. It's not wide enough for 3 lanes of traffic, me being one of them. So an early signal on, although it's a compulsory left turn, that just gives these vehicles to my right an added okay that I'm not going to go straight on. I'm going to give another signal here while I'm stopped as well, just to let people around know what I'm doing. Always be careful of people jumping late. We're all good. What would you be doing here? Do I want an overtake? No chance. So out in primary again. When's the next opportunity that it would be safe for a vehicle or a motorist behind to pass? Definitely not yet. So when some cyclists are taking up this position, to all you motorists, they're honestly doing it for reasons you probably haven't thought of. Now, if there are any vehicles following behind, there is, but I think I'm going to get to the other parked ones before they get here, so stay out. But if there were any vehicles behind again, I would have given that opportunity to go past. Here, no, there's a bend coming up. But you imagine if I was taking up this primary position and not maybe doing 20 miles an hour like I'm doing. Remember, my assist finishes at 15, so to all you mountain bike haters, you can still get on with things. Early signal. I've made my decision that I'm going to go for this one. Not going to cut any corners. Round we go. And that was the fellow instructor that was following us. That's why they were sticking to the speed limit and not catching me up. Perfect. But if they're following now, I am going to think about traffic flow. On a road like this, big, long and straight, if there's vehicles coming in the opposite direction, here. So these two coming from the opposite way, as soon as they're passed, I'm just going to check and just glide in back to the secondary. Don't want to be riding in the gutter. This gives me move room. But then if a lane, I think it's a lane, wants to come past, it's not a problem. Let's see what a lane does. No pressure. Good decision, I think. Lights up ahead are on red, and she's kept a distance back, so I've taken up primary again. Hand up to say thanks. Now back on it again. I was going to speak. I want to make sure I've been seen by the oncoming one. Happy? Yeah, reading the signs. Their speed was telling me everything. And now we're heading back towards mine. So just a little short ride today, explaining primary. Now, you experienced cyclists may very well have plenty to say. I'm totally fine with that, as always. Any views that you've got, express them politely and be respectful of others. That's what we should be dealing with on the road. Now I'm just going to create a little bit of space, slow down a bit, so we can both pass in that little area. And then a left signal to go over the bridge. So yeah, comments would be really appreciated in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Have you been taught anything different? This one's tailgating a little bit. So control them, slow down, tell them where you're going. But never put yourself at danger or risk. But yeah, you experienced cyclists, be really interested to know whether there's anything that I should be doing differently. We're here to learn, don't forget. Keep safe. I'll see you soon.